All right, what's up guys? This is a very basic how-to video for setting up Accordance on Windows, specifically Accordance 14. And it is focused on making Accordance somewhat similar to BibleWorks. So if you're used to BibleWorks and you're trying to integrate back into Accordance, you've never used Accordance before, we're going to take you from install to just how to use some basic features and how to make it look somewhat like BibleWorks. So we'll go through that. We'll start out with install. So let's get into that. Okay, so here we are on Accordance's website. If you do not have an account, you should create one. I already have one. I'm going to log in. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to we're going to go over here, search for green collections. This one right down here, Academic Collection Green Level 1. And this collection comes with Accordance 14. So if you buy this, you'll get Accordance 14. You don't have to buy Accordance 14 with it, along with it. So anyway, you buy that, you add it to your cart, check out, go through all that. Then after you pay for it and everything's good, you go over here to support and you click the download, and you're going to go over here to desktop Accordance version 14, and this is for Windows, right? Because we're on Windows. We're going to hit Windows, and it's going to come up here. I'm using Chrome. I'll go over here to our download folder. You can see I've already downloaded it multiple times. We're going to click on that. It's going to come up and say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? You're going to say yes. And all right, here's our installation page. So select the destination folder. The default is OK, Oak Tree Accordance. So go next, we want to create a desktop shortcut, and yes, that's good too. So it's going to install real quick, and then we're going to launch Accordance. All right, what it's going to do is it's going to come up with a number of options for how to set up and the certain settings and everything. I'll walk you through those real quick when it comes up. All right, here's our setup assistant. Welcome to Accordance. We're going to continue on that. We're going to agree to this. Yes, already read this before. Come on. There we go. And we're going to sign in. So the same login that you used on the website here for your account, you're going to use on this. Easy install. So your username, we're going to sign in. It's going to validate that. All right. Then we're going to see this window, this easy install window, and your options will probably look a little bit different. You'll probably have less boxes to click. And for the sake of time, I'm only going to click a couple of these. But for your thing, go ahead and hit download all. You want to go ahead and download everything that you have purchased. So just hit download all. I'm not going to do that because it's going to take a long time to download everything that's in my library. All right, so after it's finished installing, you'll see this screen over here where you hit continue setup. And then it's going to bring up this option for your default resources. We're not going to change anything in this right now. We're going to do that later. So we're just going to hit continue, continue for that one too. We are going to change this one. So this is where you have the option to change the appearance of how verses look on your text that you're actually using. So you can do them in paragraphs or you can do it in separate verses. I find that separate verses is easiest because you have each verse marked distinctly different from the others. So for paragraphs down here, you've got Genesis 1:1, and then you have to kind of search for it to find where 2 starts. So you'll find that it's faster just knowing that you can just scroll all the way through the list of verses and find exactly where verse 9, verse 6, verse 8 is. You don't have to go looking through here. It's also easier to copy and paste. So I like to do separate verses. If you really, really like the other one, and this is not for you, do paragraphs. I think you'll find, though, that for the sake of time, separate verses does have benefits. So we're going to go with that, and then we're going to do done. And I believe it will open up, yes, it will open up in dark mode. So let's change that. There it is, display. So we're going to toggle the light mode on. That way you can see everything a little bit better. Okay, so here we are. We installed it. So we're done with our first thing. Second thing, we're going to set up our library. Okay, here's how to do that. I'm not even going to tell you anything about what you're looking at, what it does. We're just going to jump right into this just for the sake of time. So you've got this little book open right here. We're going to click that. That's your library. And your library is going to open up on the side. And this has all your resources. So you have all your text. See right here, this option for text. You hit the little plus icon, it opens up. And look, you've got all these Bible texts in your library. I don't know if you'll have all those, but you should have a pretty decent amount. And then you've got dictionaries, commentaries, Greek lexicons, Hebrew lexicons, grammars, all this other stuff. What we're going to do first is we're going to create a user group called Bibles I Use. So let's find a Bible that you use, like for example, let's look for the NASB 95. So we're going to right click on that. We're going to go over here to add user group, but there's no groups created. So we're going to create a new group, and it's untitled right now, but we're going to change that to Bibles I Use. Okay. I'm going to go back up, scroll up to the Bibles, and we're going to add maybe 4 more other Bibles that you may use. So let's add ESV to there. So right click, and we're going to go add user group. There it is, Bibles I Use. And we're also going to do, let's do the American Standard, Bibles I Use. What else? King James with Strong's. And then let's add the NA28, Bibles I Use, along with the Texas Receptus. I can't remember if it's this one or that one. This is with Strong's numbers. This is, okay, so I think we want this one. Add to user groups, Bibles I Use. And then we're going to go down here, get a couple more. Let's add, we could add Young's Literal. I don't know if you'll have Young's Literal, but we'll go ahead and add it for me. And then let's add Darby's. Where's Darby's? In case you're looking for one that doesn't show up, that you can't find, you can go over here to the top, see this search any category, and you can start typing and a result will appear. See how I did that? So here's Darby's translation. We're going to do add to user group, Bibles I Use. Okay, so great. Now if you scroll all the way down, you can see this user group that you'll have all the way down here at the bottom. So here's my groups, Bibles I Use, and look, I have all these Bibles that I use. NASB, ESV, American Standard, so on and so forth. Okay, we're going to create a second user group, and this one is going to be the lexicons that you're going to use. So let's scroll down here, and we have dictionaries, commentaries, Greek lexicons. Let's start with the Greek lexicons. Open that little drop-down arrow there, and you probably will not have as many options as I have, but let's go ahead and click on this one right here. Louw-Nida, let's start with that one. We're going to do add to user groups, and we're going to create a new group, and I'll just call this one Lex. There we go. Scroll back up here to our Greek lexicons, and let's add the Greek Strongs. And if you have BDAG, which I didn't download, or Little Kittle, which I did download, I'm going to go ahead and add Little Kittle to that Lex I Use. And then if you have BDAG, throw BDAG in there too. BDAG is not included with the green collection, but you can buy it separately. And then now we're going to click on our Hebrew lexicons. And we're going to add the Hebrew Strongs, add to user group. And let's do, I think that's it. Let's just do that. Okay, so let's start with that. And then let's add a couple dictionaries as well. Like, let's do Webster's. We'll add Webster's select. And I think that is it. I don't need to add anything else, as far as I know. So we'll start with that. Now we're going to create, here, let's go down and look at it first. See which Bibles I use, a user group, and lexicon user group. Okay, let's create one more. This is going to be called word lookup. Okay. So we're going to add. Now, I would suggest use your favorite and the one that you use, the text that you most use, the English text that you most use, which for me is NASB 95. I would use that one. And we're only, this is very specific. So it's not like we're gonna have a bunch of English text like the other one. This is just gonna be, we're gonna have a text of each different language. So we'll have three. But we'll have English, and we will create a new group. So this is our English section, which you're gonna understand why I'm doing this here in a little bit. Let's rename this item to word lookup. There we go. So we got our NASB 95, and then we're going to add the Greek text, source text that I use the most, which is NA28. So we're going to add that to word lookup, and then we're going to add the Hebrew that you use the most. Now, I actually use HMT, which I didn't download, but HMT, you get a demo of it in the Green Collection, but the demo is only, I believe, Genesis 1, chapter 1, so it's basically useless. But you do have this Hebrew Bible, so we'll go ahead and use that one. So this is going to be similar to what you would have if you downloaded the Green Collection. So we're going to add that to word lookup, although I probably would recommend HMT if you want to buy it on the side. Okay. So there's our three groups. Let's scroll down and look at them one more time. So here we've got Bibles I use. There's probably 7 or 8 Bibles in there. And then here's your lexicons. And you can add to these later. You'll see how they integrate into Accordance. So you're probably asking them, why did I just create these? I don't understand anything of why this program is working. Well, the reason why you did is because right now in Accordance, you have so many resources. And you need to not look at everything at the same time. You need to only look at the things that you want to look at. So you could think of these user groups kind of as filters to filter out things that you do want to look at so that you can kind of isolate them and be specific in how you use the different texts that you're going to use. And I'll show you why this is important. Okay, so we worked on setting up your library. We have it set up. We've got word lookup, and we have our, and this is important. You need to have English, like I said, your favorite English text. So mine's NASB. Your favorite Greek source text, which is mine's NA28, and your favorite Hebrew, which I only have this one, and you will only have this one too. So that's okay. You can just use that one. So those three needs to be in word lookup. Don't add anything else other than that. Just add those. Or, I mean, you can add a different Hebrew or a different Greek text if you want to use Textus Receptus as your source, do that. Or if you want to use a different English text, do that. But just keep it to those three categories. All right, moving on. Let's move to setting up the settings and incorporating these. And you'll kind of start to understand why I just did what I did. Okay, so right in this window, let's actually go ahead and close this one. We don't need that. There's this little option for live click. See that right there? We're going to click that, and then this little gear appears. See how that gear appears right there? So if this is not checked, that gear does not appear. See that? It's got to be checked, otherwise that gear won't be there. So anyway, the gear shows up, and we're going to click that gear. It's going to take it just a second to open, and it's going to open up these settings. And this is where we incorporate the 3 user groups that we just set up. Okay, so here's the settings that I recommend that you use for live click to kind of best emulate the way BibleWorks worked. We're going to use custom group, and this is lexicons. So you're going to choose that one. And then for your verse lookup, you can do text browser tab. That'll work. And then use custom group. and this is our Bibles I use group, okay? And then for word usage, we want not current book. We want to search the entire text. For example, if we're in John, and you click on a word in John, it's only going to search for all the times that that word appears in John. But we want to search all the times it appears in the New Testament or in the entire Bible if it's English. So we want entire text selected, all right? Then we're going to use custom group for that text, and we're going to choose word lookup. All right, the second thing is this word study. We'll come back to that. We're going to go ahead and uncheck it right now, all right? Then you've got these settings up here. Greek and Hebrew. You've got your lexeme, which is like your dictionary form, and your reflected, and we want lexeme. And then key numbers. This is probably the most important thing in all of Accordance as far as settings goes. You don't want to search by the key number. So in Accordance, they associate key numbers with words all the time. And if you start searching by the key number, you'll click on, a Greek word or an English word. It'll search for the key number that's associated with that word, the Strong's key number, or whatever your key number setup is. And we don't want to do that. The reason why is because that's sometimes confusing. We want to search for the word, and the reason why is it just brings clarity. You're searching for the word that you are actually clicking on. So if you click on an English word, it's going to search for the English word. You click on a Greek word, it's going to search for a Greek word, the Greek word that you're clicking on. It's going to search for that one. Now it's going to search it in the lexeme for the dictionary form, and the same for Hebrew. But it's not going to distinguish key number. And that's important because you can have different, the key numbers can be different depending on what source text you're using for different passages. So we want to click on the word and just avoid confusion. We're only searching for the word that we particularly see and click on. That's the one we want to use when we're doing word studies. We don't want to have to distinguish between, it's this number. If I was to tell you anything as far as using clarity for word studies, I would say avoid key numbers altogether. That's my 2 cents. I don't use them for anything. I don't take notes with them. I completely avoid it altogether. I go back to using dictionary form of Greek words or the specific inflected verb that's actually written down. So anyway, we're doing word. That's a big one. Get off my soapbox there. And is there any other? I think that's it. Let's go ahead and let me show you how these settings work. All right, so we're gonna hit OK. And we are almost done with our settings. Okay, so right now it opens up and we have, let's see, we've got ESV with Strongs and ESV with interlinears. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and close this plane. And let's open up another tab. And we're going to do Modern Bibles. Let's do NASB. NASB 1995. So now it's going to open that up. And I don't need this window. Okay, so a couple things that you notice right off the bat. First of all, look how it's showing me verses rather in paragraphs. It's showing me Genesis 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's the way I like it. You can change that if you want to in the settings and appearance, but we talked about that a little earlier. Okay, so our settings that we changed for live click, let's look at that. Go here. We had lexicon lookup. Okay, so this is a live click setting. So when live click is selected, you can click on a particular word and it'll bring up certain options. So let's just do that. Let's click on beginning, and right off the bat we get 2 different windows that show up. All right, so beginning, it's searching in the English. So see how it searched for that in the lexicon lookup tab in beginning. And then I have all these different forms of beginning in Oneida that's pulling up for me. That's not very useful, seeing as how Louw-Nida is a Greek lexicon. But one thing that is interesting here is in this word usage tab, we're going to go ahead and close this hide tab contents. I have in the NASB 995, every time beginning or begin is appears in all of NASB 95. So there it is. So I've got, look at that, 412 hits. Those are flex hits. There's 403 verses that have beginning in them. So it kind of gives you an idea of what a single click does. It shows me let's do it a different one. Let's do void. So here it's going to search for void. So look how there's not very many references for void in the English for word usage. There's 7. I've got Genesis, Numbers, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Romans, Corinthians. Void, void, void. Look at all this. Let's go ahead and try this with a Greek word. Okay, so let's open up a Greek text. So we're going to go here to NA28. All right, let's close this cross plane. And here we are at Matthew 1:1. All right, now if you know Greek, you can read that. If you don't, and you need a parallel, let me show you something about that. Let's add a parallel. See this little highlighted option here, add parallel, and let's add NASB 1995 with Strong's as a parallel. All right, I'm going to make this window just a little bit bigger. We're going to move it over. That way we can see. There we go. Okay. Now watch this. As I scroll through these, both of these are tied. Look at that. Okay, let's scroll all the way. Here, for example, let's do Matthew 6. So see how these are tied? Jesse was the father. There's the Greek word for father. See how it's highlighting father in the Greek over here, along with father in the English over there? So it's doing that, and it's tying those two words together. It's showing you that, hey, the Greek word for king is this one right here. And does that make sense? So watch this. I can click on king. This is the Greek word. I can single click king. If my live click options are selected, which they're not, so I'm going to check that box. And then let's click on king. Look at that. Okay, now my lexicon lookup searches for king in Little Kittle, and king in Louw-Nida, and king in Strong's. So there we go. Look at those options. And then I've got all the references for king in the NA28, which, look at this, there's 115 references in the New Testament, and I've got them all listed right here. Matthew 2, 2:1, 2:2, 3, 9, all the way. I can keep scrolling. It's a very long list. I will not bore you with that. Okay, so see how live click, when you click on different words, it searches in your lexicon lookup and in word usage. So you get a display of all the times and all the hits that the particular word that you're clicking on is in the Bible, and it'll search in your lexicons to get an idea as to what the definition is. So let's look at this here. See how this is really big, this text for lexicon lookup? Let's go over here to our font. See these A's? See, if I click the little A, it'll decrease the font size. If I click the big A, it'll increase it. So here, click the little A, make it a little smaller. I don't need it to be that big. And I can do the same thing with this NASB 95 right here. If I click the little A, it's going to go a little bit smaller. Look at that. Perfect. That's how I like it. All right. A couple more things. Let's go to, let's open up a Hebrew text real quick. That way I can just show you what it looks like to search Hebrew. It's the same thing though. I mean, it's okay, so here's Genesis 1:1. Okay, I don't know Hebrew. So I'm going to add a parallel. Let's do NASB 95. And here we are, Genesis 1:1, and it ties the same thing. Ties the words together. Here's the word for formless. So see, it's this Hebrew word right here. By the way, if you're not familiar with Hebrew, Hebrew reads from right to left, okay? So that's why the verse references are over here rather than over here on the right rather than over here on the left like they do in English. All right, so formless, it's this one. Now I can go over here, I can click formless, right? Oh, I got to turn live click options on. Look at that, I forgot. Formless, and look, my lexicon lookup, it searches formless, and my word usage searches formless. Only 2 other formless words in the NASB 95, Genesis and Jeremiah. But now let's search for it in the Hebrew. So I click this one. Now I get it in the Hebrew Strong's Dictionary, which that was my only Hebrew dictionary that had my list of user or lex user group. So here it is, and there's my meaning, my Hebrew lexicon meaning, and then I get it in all the times it's used in my Hebrew word usage. So Genesis, Deuteronomy, Samuel, Isaiah, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's just a brief overview of kind of how those options work. Okay, secondly, we're going to go and we're going to set up your workspace. This is chaotic, okay? We're going to make it a lot better. So let's do this. Let's close everything. All right, let's close this. Matter of fact, we're going to close in Accordance altogether. We're going to go back here to our browser tab, and in this video, there is a link to a OneDrive file that I'm going to ask you to download here. It's an Accordance file, so we're going to paste that link in here, and it is called Accordance or BibleWorks -24. All right, so we're going to download that one, and it's going to go in our downloads folder. We're going to put it on our desktop. Stand by here. Let's minimize this. We're going to put it over here on our desktop. Let's just put it right here. All right. Now we're going to click on this. Once it's on our desktop, we're going to double click it. BibleWorks 24.accord. And it's going to load. This is the workspace that you will use to kind of emulate what BibleWorks is doing. Okay, so here we go. It opens. All right, let's just go through this really quick. There's the amazing things that's kind of in this workspace. So first of all, you have your NASB right here at the top, NASB plus Hebrew, Old Testament, and Greek New Testament. Notice there's 2 windows here. There's one at the top, one at the bottom. And look at that, they're tied together. See how that is? See how if I scroll through Matthew, I get to Matthew 2. This first down here goes to Matthew 2. I get to Matthew 4. It's at Matthew 4 down here. This is Greek. So this is my NA 28, Greek New Testament. And they're tied together. And they're always like that. So if I go over here, I can click the search. I can enter a verse reference like it says. Let's do John. I could do 1 John. Let's just do John. John 1:1 takes me. In the beginning was the Word. So see how it highlights those words, the Greek words with English words. So they're here. We all know this one, word, logos. There we are. So just like we showed earlier, we can single click on the one, and it's going to show us all the hits for it in our word usage tab. And then we can also see the definition for it in our lexicon lookup. We can also do that with logos. So like I showed you again, search for it in the NA 28, and then search for it in Louw-Nida. So let's change a couple things about this. Let's look at, see this one right here, this verse lookup. This is very interesting. Let's see if we can get it to work. Okay. Look at that. So see the second tab, this tab over here, and we're going to go over here to this tab. Let's go. Actually, yeah, there we go. So our verse lookup, it has all of the Bibles that we put in Bibles I Use in for the particular verse that we click on listed here. So see how I double clicked on the verse reference portion, or the verse title, I guess. Or yeah, I guess it would be the verse reference. John 1:3. I double clicked it, or no, I single clicked it. 1:4, and it comes up with every reference for John 1:4 and all the listed Bibles that I use. So here's my NASB, here's ESV, here's ASV, here's King James, NA 28, and so on. So look at that. Every single one right there. and I get to see, look how it parallels them, all of them together. So cool. Look at that. Light. There's all my references for light. Okay, super, super cool. This right here, see these little arrows? Scrolling is tied to NASB plus Greek, oh, it went away, NASB plus Greek, Old Testament and New Testament. So that means that this tab right here with the little arrows up and down is tied to this tab right here with the little arrows up and down, okay? I actually want it to be tied to this one. So this is amazing. Here's why. If I go to this tab and I scroll up and down, see how they change when I scroll? That's because they're tied. But I don't want it to be tied to this one. I want it to be tied to this one. Super easy. Here's what I do. I go over here and I right click on that tie option. Or sorry, no, I don't think I right click, I just left click on it. And I'm going to do new ties. Current ties, it's currently tied to that one, and I want to be tied to this one. NASB plus Hebrew Old Testament and Greek New Testament. So I'm going to click on that. Now they're all tied together, which that's okay. You can do that if you want. For right now, I just want it to be tied to this one. But right now, they're all tied to this one. This one is tied to this one, which is also tied to this one. I don't want that. That's a little too much tying. So I'm going to remove the tie on this one. So I'm going to see, left click on this, and I'm going to do remove. Oh, I don't know if I want to do remove all ties. Yeah, let's go ahead and remove all ties. Okay, remove all ties. Now I only have this one, this tab, and this tab tied together. So there's tab ties for you. Look at that. Look how I scroll through it. John 1:18. You know, let's go to Ruth. It'll take me to Ruth. There we go. Ruth 1:1. Look at that. It's going to tie them together. Super, super cool. And then look, I got the Hebrew down here. So cool. See how it does that? Now, just let me explain the differences between these two tabs. I've got NASB, Hebrew Old Testament, and Greek New Testament. Watch this. If I go to Matthew, if I can spell it right, Matthew 1, now look, I've got the Greek down here. So I've got the NA28 down here, but then if I scroll up to Malachi, look how it changed. See how it changed there? So I've got Malachi 4:6. It went to Hebrew down here. If I scroll back down, oh, it goes back to Greek. Amazing. It's amazing how it does that. Okay? The difference between this tab and this tab is that if I'm at Matthew, so let's go to back to Matthew 1:1, and I scroll up, so this is the NA28 for the New Testament, and down at the bottom here, and if I scroll up to Malachi, now I've got the Septuagint. Okay, so I've got the Septuagint, so Malachi 3:23, right up there. Does that make sense? So I'm no longer looking at the Hebrew. Instead, I'm looking at the Septuagint that I'm using for my Old Testament source text. So if you want to use that, you can. So you've got those two options. You've got an option with Hebrew Old Testament and an option for Greek New Testament, and you've got an option for Greek Old Testament and New Testament, but you're using the source text of the Septuagint and as the Old Testament and the NA28 as the New Testament. Very good. Love that. It's amazing. Super useful. Last thing I want to show you. Go over here to settings. We're going to change a couple things. Remember how when we opened a new window, let's just do it real quick. American Standard Version. See how live click is not checked? We're going to change that. And we're going to change a couple other things too. So let's do this. Click on our little gear here. Wait for it to come up. And then we're going to go over here to, so we're at live click. We're going to go all the way here to search tabs. Okay. And then we are going to do enable live click. So for when a new tab is open, we want live click to be enabled. And we're going to uncheck this add info pane. So right there where, remember how I was closing that one that I said, oh, we don't need it. This is going to make it to where it doesn't open again. We won't ever have it there. So we want to change those. That's your search tabs. Okay. And then if you click plus to open a new tab, you can change your default text. So for example, I like if my default text is NASB 95 rather than ESV. and I could change how my search terms are. So I'm going to keep everything like this. I like flex. I want verses to default my options to search for verses rather than words. And everything else looks good. Okay, so there's your option. You want live click enabled, and you don't want add info pane. Okay, second thing, once you go all the way up here to the top, hit general, and we're going to change how we start up the session. Basically what this option is when you open Accordance, how is it supposed to look? Well, we want it to look like the BibleWorks-24. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do favorite workspace, and it might not be in here. Nope, it's not. Okay, so that means we need to add it to our workspace. Okay, so even though we just opened up BibleWorks, it's not actually in our database as a workspace. So what we do is go over here to OK, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to do Open Workspace. Okay, see how Open Workspace is right under here, under File, and then we're going to do Add Current Workspace BibleWorks-24. Let me do this though. I'm going to actually change something in this workspace before I save it. See, I have my save settings over here. Before I save it, I'm going to make this, see these icons right here? I don't really need them. You'll find that you don't really need them. I'm going to make them go away. So I'm going to go over here to Window, and I'm going to go Hide Toolbar right there. There we go. Goes away, gives me a little bit more room. Now I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do Save As, and it's going to give me this BibleWorks-24. Now I've got a bunch of other ones in here, which you won't. But I want to save this not to my Accordance files. I want to save it to my, well, maybe I should save it to my Accordance files. Let's go ahead and save it to our BibleWorks right here. So we're going to hit save, and it's going to say BibleWorks already exists. Do you want to replace it? And hit yes. Okay. Now, look at this. When we go over here to our open workspace, it's right there. Look, BibleWorks-24. There we go. All right, now I'm going to go back to my little settings icon, and I'm going to go all the way up to general right there, and then here we'll see it. So we want on startup, we want it to open our favorite workspace, which what's our favorite workspace? Well, it's right here, BibleWorks-24. There it is. We click on that one. And then everything in here, I believe, stays the same. Yes. Okay, so all those are good. We're just changing up startup. Okay. Now we're done with that, but I want to move on to our amplify settings. Okay, we're going to get these figured out for you. Now, we are not going to look at everything in here. I just want to help you change these settings so that way in the future when we do use these properly, you'll have them set right. So go ahead and set them to this to these settings. So for English, this is our triple click settings, which triple click is pretty cool. We're going to look at it. Let's do, trying to think about whether we should do, let's do topical index, NASB topical index for English. And then Greek, these are the ones that are most important. We want NASB Greek dictionary, and for Hebrew, we want NASB Hebrew dictionary right here, that one. And I don't need Latin. And then verse reference, I don't mind new Bible commentary, but let's go ahead and do net. We could do Strong's notes. Let's do 95 with Strong's notes. Let's do that one. There are other, I don't know if they're not in here, so I have Robertson's word picture, and which is a great one, but you won't have it. I also have Vincent's, which is also a great one, but you don't have that as well, or most likely won't have that. But I do know that you will have NASB 95 with Strong's notes, so I'm going to go ahead and do that one. The net notes are also pretty good too. So if you want to fool around with what does what, that's also one. But let's go for now. We're just going to do NASB 1995 with Strong's notes, and then this is the same. Greek key numbers. We're not searching by key numbers, but we're going to set them to NASB Greek Dictionary just the same. So here we are, NASB Hebrew. And then I believe all of these are right. Yes, that looks good. Okay, we're going to hit OK on that. It's going to save those. Now, let's go back to our main window. Here we are in Matthew. Let me just show you what just happened. So like I said, I'm going to go over these a lot more in depth, but this is just briefly showing you kind of the settings that you just changed. So we just changed our triple click settings. We just changed our triple click settings. So let me show you what you do when you come to a word like, let's do Isaac right here. So if I triple click the English word Isaac, 1, 2, 3. It's a little bit hard to get to open. There we go. It searched for the key number. Don't know why it did that. I believe that's because I searched on the English. Let's search on the Greek. I'm sorry. Let's triple click the Greek. So this is our Greek word right here for Isaac. See how it's highlighting it right there. Whoops, right there. There we go. So 1, 2, 3. And triple click is a little hard to get to be able to do successfully sometimes. And that's gonna work. There we go. Don't know why it didn't work there. So here it is. Notice how it opened up in this NASB Greek Dictionary down here in this corner right here. I don't know if that appears here. Oh, I'm in the way. No, I'm not. There we go. So right here, this is your NASB Greek dictionaries. So it is Isaac, the son of Abraham. Let's go to a different word. Let's go to John again. I like John. And let's look up. We could do beginning. Let's do comprehend. Let's do comprehend. So we're going to triple click the Greek word comprehend in John 1, 5. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Look at it. So it shows up here on our NASB Greek dictionary. And here it is. Here's the number, 2638. And it is from 2596 and 2983. So it's a compound word. What you can do, so this word is to lay hold of or seize. And this NASB Greek dictionary is going to show us how many times that NASB has translated that word in the particular Greek word into English. So for example, they translated attend 1 time, they translated it caught 2 times, comprehend 2 times as well, found 1 time, laid hold of 2 times, overtake 2 times, seizes 1, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what those numbers are telling you, that the NASB have the number of times that they've translated this Greek word into those particular things. But we can click on these numbers and we can see a better understanding for kind of the source or the root of this particular word. So it's from 2596. Now if you notice when I'm putting my cursor over it, see how these instant details down here at the very bottom, see how those change? And it shows right here, akata, that's 2596 right there. See how it's doing that? And it is a preposition. It's down against according to about, okay, so it's a preposition. I can actually click on it though, and it'll show up. See, got the preposition. So same thing. The instant detail show me it's a lot. It's a big definition. Many words have kata is many times kata is used. Now, if I want to go back to the word that I originally searched for, this one, comprehend. See this arrow down here? I just move to prior location. See that right there? Click that, and it takes me back to the other one. So here we are. We're over here at this this word for lay hold of, or seize, or to comprehend, as it's translated here in 1 John 1:5. But I can also click on this other one. So it's a combination. It's kata, and then what's this other one? I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it means to take or receive. I can click on it and it's going to show me 2983, to take or receive, accepting, attempting, caught. Look at all the times it's used. Took 56 times right there. And if I want to go back, I just hit the back arrow. There we go. So this is great because you can search and you can find root words and the times that Greek uses a lot of compound words. You can look at the definitions of those particular compound words. You find it's just really useful. You can do the same thing for Hebrew. For the Hebrew dictionary, you triple click. So triple click opens up your NASB Greek dictionary. Does that help you? Or your NASB Hebrew dictionary, and gives you the ability to see root words and everything. Okay, so that's what triple click does. The last thing I want to show you is I want you to see there's a lot of other ways that you can use verse lookup. Okay, so let's say we click on, let's do comprehend. Let's see how many times comprehend is used. We'll search for our Greek text. So we're going to single click comprehend. We're over here at John 1:5. I'm going to click this one. It's highlighted already for me. Comprehend, single click it, and it's going to show. Oh, it's already. Let's change it. Actually, it's already showing in my word usage, but we'll click it again so it changes, so you can see and actually search for it. So here it is, NA28, and here's all the times it's used. Mark uses it once. John uses it 4 times. Acts. Look at this. So if you're really familiar with Greek and you can read Greek really well, great, good for you. I can't. So here's what I do. I go over here to open. My Greek is not the greatest. I can manage. I can do in-depth word studies, but it's not the greatest. Go over here to open. See this little? See how it just kind of appears up there? I put my cursor. It just kind of appears right there. This is in the word usage tab, not in verse lookup. It's in word usage. Okay, kind of appears right there. I click on it, and look, it opens up in this third tab that I have in my main window. And what it's doing is it's showing me the NASB 28, right? But it's paralleling it with NASB 99.5, okay? So see, I can read actually and figure out what those verses are for the verse references and the times that comprehend is used. So here it is, the one that we were at. We were at John 1:5. It's also used in John 8. So I can read this. I can go, the scribes and Pharisees brought a woman and caught her in adultery, and having set her in the center of the court. So where's that word right here? They caught her. There's a word that we were looking up. And it's kind of a basic word study that I can do. Here it is in Acts 4:13. Now as you observe the confidence of Peter and John and understood. There's our word. Okay? So you can go have so much fun with this. All you have to do is hit open for your Greek. You can also do this with Hebrew. It'll bring up the parallels for both of them. You can go over here, back to your main window, find another one. Let's do a believe. Right there. There it was. So that you all might believe through him. John 1:17. Actually, let's do 14 because John 1:14 is amazing. The word became flesh and dwelt. This is a fun word to dwelt among us. It's a fun word to study right here. So we're going to click on the Greek. Single click. It's going to come up. Not very many references. We got Revelation and John. That's it. So everything's from John there. We're going to go over here to open. And look at that, opens up. Here's all our verse references for Revelation and John, but they're in Greek. But that's okay, because we got the parallel over here in English. And the word became flesh and dwelt among us. That's the one we originally clicked on. And then 7:15. For this reason, this is in Revelation, for this reason they are before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple. And he who sits on the throne will spread his tabernacle over them. Okay, so in here, that word dwelt in John 1:14 is tabernacle in 7:15. Very interesting. All right. So that kind of gives you an idea of how to use word usage very briefly. Now I'm like blazing through this, and we'll come back to it in future videos, and we'll study and look at everything how you can use word usage and verse lookup and all these things. There's so many nuances, and it's extremely powerful tool, but I just blaze through it just so you can just kind of get a basic idea of what you're doing here with word usage. That way you can kind of get off the ground of kind of some of the ways that this workspace is used. Lastly, very last thing, I promise. Remember how we set the settings over here for live click? Or not live click settings, but we're going to click on the little gear. And in general, we said your favorite workspace on startup is going to be BibleWorks 24. That's very important. And that means that if we get everything messed up here, let's say we open, I don't know, some weird whatever, and then we've got stuff over here. Oh, it says it's not enough room. Let's put it over there. Nope, still says there's not enough room. Let's close this. Let's just say we messed everything up. We didn't know how to get it back, right? Because it's very difficult to create all of that. Put this down there. All right, so it's messed up. Here's what we do. If you mess this up, you don't know how to get it back to the original way that you found it when you first saved that BibleWorks-24 accordance file. Just go over here to the red X, boom, close it. Super easy. Then you're going to go over here to Accordance, your program. You can use both actually if you want, but let's just click on Accordance for now on your desktop. Okay, now it opens up the exact same way that you had it. Okay, the exact same Accordance or BibleWorks-24 setup, all fixed and everything. So you don't have to try to refix it. You can mess it up as many times as you want, as long as you don't resave over your BibleWorks-24. As long as you don't rewrite that file, you'll always be able to close Accordance and open it back up and have it look like this every single time. So if you do want to create a different workspace, like let's say you just despise this one, you don't want 3 tabs, you only want 2, and you don't like using the Hebrew or whatever, I don't care, whatever you want to do. If you want to add another one, let's say you want to put, let's say you use one of these grammars, Robertson's. Great. And you always want to have it open for whatever reason. If you want to do that, that's great. But just remember that when you go over here and you hit Save As, if you save over that BibleWorks workspace, it's going to open up to the way that you save it every single time because it's opening up BibleWorks-24 as its favorite workspace every time. So what I would recommend doing is I would recommend creating a different one. Call it your own. Hey, this is John Smith's workspace, whatever you want to call it, and date it so that way you know kind of what you're doing. Save it. And then if you ever want to go and use it, you can go to the file where you saved it, click on it, double click it, it'll open in that workspace. That's one way to do it. You can also go over here to open workspace, and if you add it to that list of workspaces, it'll be there. And there's other workspaces here. So you've got New Testament study. You won't find these very useful, but you can put more workspaces there as you desire. So anyway, just want to show you that. If you mess up Accordance, you just hit the red X, restart it, and it comes back. It's very nice. All right, guys, that's all I got. We went through the 4. We installed it. Basics. Went from 0 to 10. We installed it. We set up your library. We set up your settings, and we set up your workspace. We're going to dive a whole lot more into how to do the basics to very advanced word study in more videos and future videos. And also, if you're converting to Mac, I have Mac videos going through basically the same thing. Accordance on Mac is slightly different. Okay, that's all I got, guys.